Me and Puff actually locked in recently, and he done a lot of production on the album, and just came through after the songs was bare, and just like, you know, I thought I was done, but he heard the records like, nah, here's shit we can do to it. So we opened it back up. I sent the stems, and then we got in the studio, and Mario Winans was in there, Scott Storch was in there. He got the Hitmen back together for me, and just, you know, got the conductor, whatever them things is called, and start conducting, you know what I mean, and producing on the records, and I start hearing them go to the next level.
What's up, my YouTube community? Welcome back to my channel. I am so gifted, and happy October. Today is October 1st. I'm wishing you guys nothing but blessings on blessings on blessings, and hoping that you have a prosperous rest of your year. That is so crazy that time is really kind of, you know, flying by. But in this video, I want to talk about Nipsey Hussle and Puff Daddy's relationship. So if you guys aren't aware, Puff Daddy produced or has executive producer credits on Nipsey Hussle's Victory Lap album. So when I initially found out that Nipsey was going to be working with Puff on his album, I was excited. I grew up on 90s music, and if anybody grew up on 90s and early 2000s music, you know that Bad Boy and Death Row Records had it on lock. Puffy has so many great artists under his belt, and a lot of them have said that he just, you know, brings out the best in them. He's a perfectionist, so he wants everybody to, you know, win. He wants you to bubble. He wants you to pop off. He wants you to be successful in the music industry. So yeah, I was definitely here for it, even if it's just a little take that. Even if it's just like a little take that, or a yeah here and there, he was going to bring that energy for sure. He going to get into his bag. So I knew that the album was going to be fire, and he just brings great energy. He parties. He brings that, you know, confidence. So I knew in my mind, I felt like, yeah, you know, Nipsey called the right one for something like this. And I felt like it was going to bring back that 90s nostalgia. And Puffy, he just really does have a vibe about him, honestly, when it comes to this music stuff. He puts his all into it. He brings great energy. He's ready to party. He's ready to dance. So I was excited about the collaboration. But when I went through some of the comments on Nipsey Hussle's IG post about him working with Puff Daddy, they were dragging Puff Daddy and basically warning Nipsey Hussle to stay away from him. I'm not going to read the comments. You guys are going to have to read them on the screen. I'm not going to read them out loud. So just take some time out to read these comments, and I'll come back with the rest of my commentary. Okay, so y'all just saw how Nipsey Hussle's fans was dragging P Diddy straight to hell in that comment section. Now we're going to go ahead and get into these interviews with Nip talking about how he connected with Puff and why he wanted to work with him.
What kind of conversations did you and Diddy have? Because you and Diddy formed a relationship, I assume through Lauren London and Cassie and
Yeah. Bug threw me the alley-oop, you know.
Oh, you hooked you up with Lauren?
No, I'm saying Lauren introduced me to Puff.
Oh, got you.
I mean, I knew Puff, but it was more of a personal relationship after, you know, we was at Cassie's birthday.
Stuff.
Something like that, you know.
What made you want to get an old nigga like Diddy and put him on young nigga?
That's crazy. Nah, Diddy chose young nigga. I try to get him on rap niggas. Because I was referencing the Hate Me Now video and what his presence on that record with Nas brought to it. I'm like, look, this the record, this rap niggas. I want you to get on this, put the mink on, get in the video. We gonna make a movie. And he was like, he told me the whole story behind that. He like, bro, I busted a $40 million check a week before I did that movie. So that video.
Wow.
So he like, that's the energy you saw in that video.
Wow.
Like I went and spent all this dough on a chain and we got tigers. He like, cause I got the biggest check of my life. Yeah. So he like, we probably ain't gonna be able to recreate that energy. You know what I'm saying? But you know, when I played the rest of the songs for him, he heard Young Niggas and he chose that record.
Really?
Yeah, so, you know, he just went in the booth and then start,
Take that.
Yeah, start gassing, right. You know? But even still, like, rap niggas, he gave me some real production advice on that record. When I played it for him, it was different than what y'all heard.
he said it wasn't loud enough. Right?
Yeah, and he was like, listen, bro, he pulled up Natural Born Killers by Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. He like, this what you going for. This what y'all trying to do on this record. Maximize it, make it sound like this. And we went back in the studio and I played it for my producers and then we turned it up and added a synth lead all the way through so it sounded more like West Coast violent, you know what I mean? And I felt what he said after the fact. I was a little upset, like, what you mean? This shit banging. But after I reapproached it, it was room to make the record better.
See, and that's for all those people who say Diddy don't do shit. Like when they say he don't really produce.
Nah, but see me, my understanding of Diddy, this how I look at Diddy, right? All right, think about More Money, More Problems. No disrespect to Big. Big is a legend. So what I'm about to say is not a shot against Biggie. Please don't spin it like that when they hear this. What I'm saying is that, all right, I seen an interview when Biggie had the glasses on and he was like, yeah, it's more money, more problems. You know what I mean? It come with this shit. That was before the record.
Right.
So who told the songwriter, hey, look, take the Diana Ross melody and take this line, more money, more problems, and in the hook with more money, more problems. And who said that?
Puff?
That was Puff.
Right.
That's production.
Right.
And then presented it to Biggie. And who said sample the Diana Ross I'm Coming Out record? You know what I'm saying? Who said that? That was Puff's decision. And then threw Biggie the alley-oop and Biggie came with the B.I.G. P.O. That's
PPA.
classic. Yeah. But to catch that alley-oop, I've been an artist. I know what that do. When I think about, damn, we should sample a big record. Then I think about, what can I tell the songwriter for the hook? Then I gotta also do the verse. So that's what I told Puff, bro, throw me some alley-oops like you threw, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, listen to what I'm saying in my interviews, learn me, get in your Puff Daddy the producer bag and throw me some alley-oops, I'ma catch him.
Okay, so you guys just heard what Nip had to say in regards to working with Puff Daddy and why he wanted to work with Puff, which is understandable. Like I said, he has a great energy about him. He knows music and he brings out the best in the artists that he works with. And he also mentioned that he probably could have connected with Puff Daddy in a different way, but since Puff Daddy and Lauren London have a close relationship, it was easier for Lauren London to put him in touch with Puff so that they can work together musically. So if you guys did not know, Lauren London and Diddy have been close for years. They've known each other for years now. She used to model for his clothing line, Sean John, back in the day. And she was also best friends or very close friends with his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. And Lauren does speak to how close her relationship is with Puff in an interview that she did with Angie Martinez. Let's go ahead and check this clip out.
I can honestly say God was carrying me through that. That wasn't me. That was all God. Because there was no way. I didn't even want to get dressed. I was going to wear sweats. And,
were you really? Did somebody?
I'm not getting. Yeah.
Did somebody pull you aside?
Somebody pulled me aside. Puff.
Really?
Puff pulled me aside and was like, "Look, bud, you have showed everybody what it looks like to hold a man down and to love him. Now show them what it looks like when it all crumbles. That's your responsibility." I hope he doesn't mind me sharing that. But Puff was my, he's like a real brother.
He's been through a lot of loss too.
Right. So he was like, you show up. Because he heard, I guess, I don't know who told Puff I was.
Somebody called Puff. Somebody called Puff. Somebody in your family, on your team called Puff. Like, yo, talk to Lauren.
Because I was like, I'm wearing whatever. I'm not supposed to this. I was like giving that. And so he was like, no, show up. Show up with your head up. So I really think God just carried me through that because I don't know how.
So as you guys can tell from what Lauren London said, her and Puff had a great, close personal relationship, even so to the point where it took somebody to call him to get her out of the bed because she was so overcome with grief over Nipsey Hussle's tragic, death, that he had to tell her, you know what, get up and show up for your man. So I feel like Nip probably felt like since there was a personal relationship there, that Puff Daddy wouldn't be shady with him. We all know how Puff get down behind the scenes. He does not take care of his artists. He's very greedy, and he always wants to put his hands in somebody's pocket. So maybe maybe Nip felt like, you know what, he's not going to try to get over on me. But when I found out about Puff Daddy having full executive producer, credits on Nipsey Hussle's Victory Lap after the album was pretty much done, I kind of side-eyed it. I'm like, what? Why and how?
Me and Puff actually locked in recently, and he done a lot of production on the album and just came through after the songs was bare and just like, I thought I was done, but he heard the records like, nah, here's shit we can do to it. So we opened it back up. I sent the stems, and then we got in the studio, and Mario Winans was in there, Scott Storch was in there. He got the Hitmen back together for me, and just, got the conductor, whatever them things is called, and start conducting, you know what I mean, and producing on the records, and I start hearing them go to the next level. So Puff definitely made a contribution to the music on this album.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that, on my first album, that's big. And we had real convos about music.
Yeah, Puff, I brought the album to Puff when it was pretty much done. He just got his feedback, played it top to bottom, just wanted to see what he thought. And he was like, it's room on these records to continue to produce. We had a good convo. He like, Nip, you got potentially a classic album, and it's things we could do to really push it over that limit. And so we just got back in the studio. He called in musicians. He called in the Hitman, his old production squad, Scott Storch, and we just vibed for like 2 weeks and just did little touch-ups, had combos about the records, talked about if we should take any one of the songs off the album, which ones was the favorites and stuff, and then he hopped on Young Niggas. So I respect Puff as a producer.
So. Puffy, getting Puff Daddy to talk shit, was that something that was that like a hard thing to get him in that?
No, so what happened was the album was done.
Yeah.
And he went to go play it for Puff. And I think Puff was just so inspired when he heard the project that he had to put his fingers on it. You know what I'm saying? And his ear and his touch on it. And Nipsey is a big, Puff's one of the people he really look up to in the music business. So of course, if you have Puff wanting to work with you and, add certain elements to the project, you're gonna let him jump in and do that. So, I think it was just inspiration based.
And like Nip had no ego. So you know what I'm saying? Like Nip came to me and said, I want you to mentor me, I want to get into real estate, I want you to teach me all your, like your business secrets, you know what I'm saying? I was like, whenever you got questions, pull up. And then on his last album, people do not know this. Somebody tried to jerk me, but I fixed it. I actually am one of the executive producers of Nipsey Hussle's last album.
Victory Lap.
Yeah, Victory Lap. So a lot of people don't know this. We got them to change it in Wikipedia. Somebody over at the label tried to leave my name out, but he came to me and said, I want you to be a part of helping me finish up this album. And so I was a part of not just the records I was on with him on his last album. He was like, yo, I'm a big fan of like Life After Death.
Okay, so you guys just heard everything that Nipsey Hussle had to say regarding P Diddy working on this album. And you also heard from Dallas Martin, who is an A&R with Atlantic Records. He also owns a record label he's the president of a record label called Asylum Records. I'm not sure if he's still with Atlantic or not, but you heard them both say that the album was done before Nipsey even took it to Puff. He just wanted Puff to listen to it. But when Puff heard it, he was so inspired by the album, he felt like there was room for improvement, so he wanted to put his little touch on it. And I gotta say, the album is a classic album. I feel like Nipsey Hussle definitely should have won the Grammy that the album was nominated for. He worked so hard on this album, and It's just a great body of work. And if Puff Daddy really had a hand in that, then of course he deserves something. But full executive credit on it, full executive producer credit on the album, except for the album that he just, or the songs that he just worked on, is a little, interesting to me. In my opinion, I kind of feel like Puff is an opportunist, and he found another artist that he can basically eat off of, another artist that he can live off of and profit from. But at the same time, he did put in the work, and he does deserve some credit. But I do feel like it takes away from the producers who were there from day one, the people who were there from the beginning. And for him to just come in and sprinkle a little seasoning salt on a couple of songs and become the executive producer, one of the executive producers on the album, and plus he also said that he had to really fight for his executive producer credit. You heard him say that he had to fight for this executive producer credit. He said that somebody tried to block him at the label, but he fixed it. What do you mean by fixing it? So this is why I say Puffy was a little bit of an opportunist in this situation. Of course, we want to be compensated for our contributions to anything that we do. But at the same time, for him to really have to fight to get executive producer credit on this album, it's really interesting. It's telling something just don't sit right with the entire situation, in my opinion. Let's chop it up in the comment section down below like we always do. Do you guys feel like Puff Daddy earned the right to be called one of the executive producers on this album Victory Lap? Or do you feel like he was a bit of an opportunist in trying to gain that title to profit more off of Nipsey Hussle's album? Also, do you guys agree with Nipsey Hussle's fans telling him to stay away from Puff because he's no good? Y'all let me know. Don't forget to drop your city, your state, your flag, your country, your location. I want to know where in the world this video reaches. Thank you so much for all of the new subscribers. I really appreciate you. And don't forget to like this video on your way out if you like it. Y'all have a good night. Peace.